Hey guys, uh, this is Brian J's Nerd Talk, and this is my final review of The Witcher Blood Origin, Episode 4. I just watched Episode 4, and it was awful. This whole show was terrible. It was pointless. The acting mostly sucked. Michelle Yeoh looked like she was just walking through the series. I mean, this was just a badly written show all around. Them showing the conjunction of the spheres and how it was done. Like, the conjunction of the spheres does happen in the books. Like, there is a whole backstory for that, but it's very different from this show. And the way they did in the show is just so terrible. It made no sense. It felt rushed. It felt poorly executed. The writer, the showrunner of this show is just so... Let me look up his name. I think they got his name in the credits. Let's see. Declan DeBarra. Yeah, the guy is a completely juvenile, mentally, this guy has the mentality of a 15-year-old boy. Like, his writing is so terrible. His constant F words all the time, F bombs, is so juvenile. It's so childish, so redundant. Yeah, the writing is just terrible. All the characters were two-dimensional. Like, it felt like they were just checking boxes. None of the characters felt three-dimensional to me at all. The love story felt forced and stupid. And then they have a child who's, like, elvish slash, I mean, okay, spoilers. I guess I'm going to spoil. So don't watch the video from this point onward, but I'm going to spoil. So, like, the main characters are, like, the guy, the male elf, becomes a witcher. And the way it's done was just terrible because it's not how it happened, but whatever. They made him a witcher. But what doesn't make any sense is that he had sex with the female elf before he became a witcher. So it actually doesn't make any sense that the child she conceives would be half elf and half witcher because he wasn't a witcher when they had sex to conceive the child. So they said at the end of the series, her child's going to be half witcher, half elf, who's going to lead to this era of witchers that leads to Geralt, or it leads to Ciri. But Ciri is an elf. She's just a very, very powerful elf. But are they saying that she's related to their child somehow? But, I mean, the child shouldn't be part beast or part witcher, because when the guy had sex with the female elf, two elves, he didn't become a witcher, a beast or whatever. So the elf child should just be an elf child. Like, none of this makes any sense. It's so badly written. It's so badly thought out, put together. I mean, this was worse than Lord of the Rings and Rings of Power. This is the worst fantasy series since we've had this resurgence in fantasy shows of the last 11 years with the success of Game of Thrones. This is the worst. This is worse than Game of Thrones. This is worse than Lord of the Rings of Power. This is worse than Wheel of Time. And the first season of House of the Dragon was just extraordinary. I mean, I don't know what Netflix is doing. They're hiring incompetent writers to make these Witcher shows, and I don't know what the hell is going on in their heads. I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know why. I mean, are they just manipulated by these people? Are they just hiring them because they don't know anything about this, and so they wanted to appeal to a general audience who thinks this is terrible? Like, this is the worst reviewed Witcher anything on Netflix. The critics hate it. And the critics are, people say, oh, critics are liberal and woke or whatever. They're hating this show. That's how bad this show is. The general audience is hating this show. The audience scores are terrible. Fans of the books are hating this. Fans of the games are hating this. I don't know any regular Joe Schmo that's liking this. This is just terrible. So yeah, The Witcher Blood Origin is probably the worst limited series that Netflix has ever had. It's the worst adaptation of a book I've ever seen. I would have to give The Witcher Blood Origin my rating for the fourth episode is like a 2 out of 10. So I guess my overall rating for this whole series is a 2 out of 10. I give it a 2 out of 10. This is just terrible. The Witcher Blood Origin is absolutely awful, and none of it makes any sense. So those are my thoughts, and I see why Henry Cavill left, because he saw how bad the writing was and what the writers were doing with the source material, where they were going, and he was like, I'm out. This is trash. I can't do this. Like Lauren Schmidt Hisrich, who is the creator and showrunner of the Witcher series, she lied to him. She's not a fan of the books. She doesn't care. She just wants to do her own thing, and she thinks that what she's doing is better than what the author writer has done, and she's failing horribly. I hope Netflix fires her. I hope they cancel the show. Just cancel it. Let somebody else do it better. This is just awful. But those are my thoughts, and this is Brian J's Nerd Talk. I'll talk to y'all later. And Netflix, you absolutely suck.